Welcome back, Lotus fans. I am Bryant Cook, and today we are rebuilding Lotus Field combo. If you haven't watched it yet, there's a video in the card above where I absolutely got my butt kicked. You don't have to watch it, but we played this deck last week on the channel, and the idea was that we were going to play main deck copies of Spell Pierce. Well, let me zoom. It does. How wonderful is that? So we're going to play main deck copies of Spell Pierce over Inquisition of Kozilek because that allows us to run 3 main deck islands to be better against moon effects. Plus, Spell Pierce is great against Leyline Binding. Makes sense to me. So we played this list and we lost a lot. Was there a direct correlation to Spell Pierce? Honestly, no. I thought that Spell Pierce overperformed despite our record. I guess you could say that it did get a little bit worse as the game went along, but that wasn't a fault of Spell Pierce. That was a fault of our deck not functioning. And part of our deck not functioning, in my opinion, was the card Wish. This card, I drew it multiple times and it was just a blank piece of cardboard. When I could cast it, it was a 4-mana Consider. It just stunk. Deep down, I've been feeling that I've needed to cut this card for some time, and today's the day we are cutting Wish. I will show you the updated deck list in just a moment, but bear with me, I want to talk through this losing list first. So, I knew that we wanted to cut Wish because we were playing a bunch of like cutesy Wish targets like Mind Collapse and a bunch of other stuff, and I think I've known for some time we just had to get rid of it, gain a real sideboard, and when we cut Wish, we can get better cards. So I'm getting a little bit rambly here. I'm just going to move on. But this card needs to go. Another card that I felt like needed to go is Otawara. The reason why isn't that Otawara isn't good. It's that I felt like I kept on flooding. And the way that the mana base is currently constructed is this is really the only flex land. When you're a deck that features Underworld Breach, you need as many fetch lands as possible. So you can't go down on fetch lands. You can't go down on fetchables. So it's got to be the solo utility land. And that's just how it's got to be. When we added in Mishra's Bauble originally over Sleight of Hand, if you go very far back, we were on 20 lands back then, or 21 lands. Since then, we've gone down to 20. And now, today, I'd like to go down to 19, which seems a little bit odd. Because, we haven't changed the number of Mishra's Baubles in our deck, that sort of thing. But we have added in 4 Street Wraiths. So we have free draw effects between Bauble and Street Wraith, 8 copies total. And when we didn't change our land count, perhaps that was wrong. So that's what I'm trying to test today. Maybe I do want 20, but last week I just flooded out what I felt like was over and over and over again, because we really only ever want to hit 2 lands and then play Lotus Field. We never want to draw a land after that. So I think it makes sense to go down to 19. Let's switch over to the list that I will be playing today. So we're still playing 3 basic islands to beat Magus in the Moon, Blood Moon, all that good stuff. And we're also playing main deck Void Snare. This is super effective. You can grab it off Wishclaw Talisman. You can bounce that Magus of the Moon or Dauthi Voidwalker or whatever's, plaguing your day. We also have a Grapeshot in the main deck as our win condition that can also answer Dauthi Voidwalker, which is a pretty huge deal. If you're interested in why I'm not playing fast as Oracle, go watch a previous video. I'm tired of answering that question. But here's one. Dress Down exists. Like, there's a bunch of reasons. Just play Grapeshot is better. Yeah, that's what I have to say about that. But we are down to 19 lands. We've lost the utility land. We've gained a Void Snare. We've gone up to 4 copies of Consider, which is a pretty huge deal in my opinion. One change that I did have from that last video to this one is we're only playing 3 copies of Spell Pierce and 2 Pact of Negation. I just want that extra hard counter for those games that do go a little bit longer. That said, there is a nice feature of this list, which is you just have more of the best cards in your deck. And really, we're talking about Underworld Breach because we're more likely to be fast now. We're more often going to have those turn 3 victories. So with Underworld Breach, Spell Pierce is going to be live longer. Or yeah, I guess that's actually the right verbiage I'm looking to use there. So the concern here is, well, what if you don't find the Tome Scour, right? Well, we've actually added in a second copy of Tome Scour into the main deck. But on top of that, with Otherworldly Gaze, every time you loop Otherworldly Gaze, it's -1 card, right? So if you're only going -1, you actually get a lot of looks at 2 copies of Tome Scour. I think we're going to be just fine. And that's really the change to the main deck. So we're playing the same number of protection spells, but we've added in a second pact. We're playing the Mount spell. We went down a land, and we got rid of Wish, which allows us to play 4 copies of Underworld Breach and a main deck win condition. I think we're going to be a more consistent, faster deck with these changes. So Yeah, I mean, I played a league. Sorry if I've already said this. So, fun fact for you, this is my second time recording this intro. I forgot to hit record the first time. I believe this is my first time mentioning it. But Friday night, I decided I had finished recording my video. I was like, you know what? I have the itch. I played Lotus Field yesterday. I want to try to fix it. So I came up with the list in front of you and I played a league. I finished that league just before 2 a.m. and I was playing for a 5-0 trophy. I was up a game. And in game number 3, my opponent spell pierced me, and I paid with the wrong mana. I was tired, and it happens. I tapped Lotus Field for red, not even paying attention, and I paid for the spell pierce. And it left me with red blue floating, and I just needed blue blue, and I had a guaranteed victory. So it's a little bit of a bummer. I denied myself an undefeated trophy, but I'm here today to try to run it back. And one of the big things in that video was that I had a real sideboard that came up over and over that was hyper effective. So the first thing is we get 4 copies of Leyline of Sanctity versus all of those red-black mid-range decks that are so popular in the format right now, but also things like Burn or even Endurance. I mean, it's been a while since I boarded this card in for Endurance, but the option's there. We have Pact to Negation, which does come in against blue decks, but also those Endurance decks. Suspend. So this is a card that you can cast off your triple basic to hit that Eidolon of the Great Revel, Dothy Voidwalker, I don't know, Primeval Titan, a creature with a hammer on it. I've actually really liked Suspend so far. You could be asking, why isn't this just a fadeaway? Because fadeaway allows you to scry. Well, the fact that you get a couple turns off with Suspend, I think just makes it that much better. So that's why I'm on Suspend. I've enjoyed it. You don't have to play it. There's other options. You could just play Fatal Push, but I've really liked the Triple Island. We still want an Echoing Truth for Chalice of the Void. Our whole deck is 1, so we definitely want this. Ave Progenitor Ooze is back. Triple Slime Time. This is the biggest upgrade to the sideboard in my opinion. And I boarded these in non-stop. I was able to beat Leyline Bindings very easily, but also just graveyard hate. Like those 5-color decks opening up on Leyline of the Void only to get eaten out by a slime. It was beautiful. Slime Time is back and I'm excited for you to see it here today. And then Needles for Beseiju. I don't want to say that I fixed it, but if I 5-0 today, the only thing that would have stopped me from back-to-back trophies is me being tired at 2 in the morning. So let's see if I can do it. Let me know what you think of the new list in the comment section down below. I would greatly appreciate that. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Stick around for the first match. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, early access to videos, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, such as theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to the first round. We are on the draw against F. Pauluz. I'm probably not saying their name right, but you know who I'm talking about, the Amulet Titan expert. They are a streamer and play donation decks and a ton of stuff, so I'm not going to mulligan into a hand that's good against the Amulet Titan. I'm just going to keep what we have. So we'll see if I get bid or not for that decision. The last time that I played them, they actually turn 2'd me twice, and that was not fun. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen again, which is a little like ironic, I guess you could say, because in that video that I uploaded last week, Amulet Titan also turned 2 me twice. Here we're on the draw, where if I was on the play, I would have Spell Pierce open for Amulet, where that's not necessarily an option here. And they just have a turn 1 Grazer. So it does look like it's Amulet. They have a turn 1 Teleria West. Here we drew land number 3. We didn't need that. What we actually want is just an Underworld Breach. Okay. They have the untap land here into Dryad. Veil Cut, sure thing. We will cast this Otherworldly Gaze. They have 2 in hand. And there's our Breach. Beautiful. So we're going to put that Breach directly on top of our deck. Untap. Draw. I'm going to take 2 damage here. Ouch. Pass the turn. I believe that I'm going to attempt to flashback this Otherworldly Gaze, assuming that we don't have to counter anything. Crumbling Vestige or Vestige. So this gives them 5 mana. They need 6 mana to play a Titan. Okay. So 2 tap lands. Now they can pick up the Teleria West and transmute it. Yep. And they grabbed a Summoner's Pact. I'm going to go to 12 here. And then we can flash back the other Whirly Gaze looking for the Tome Scour. Ding dong! Easy game. We'll keep that on top. Draw. Blue, red. Play Lotus Field. Okay, sacrifice those 2. Dream's Grip. Tap for blue. Underworld Breach. Untap the Lotus Field. And it looks like they're F6'd. Untap the Lotus Field. And now we show them the Tome Scour. This should do it. If I wanted to be extra cautious here, I could play the Underworld Breach. I don't know if I'm going to, only because I think there's some risk associated. Like, I don't have enough cards yet for it to be entirely free. And I think if they had a Besiju, they probably would have used it. Turn 7. Float blue. Dream's Grip to untap the Lotus Field. Okay. I'm going to tap their land, untap. Think we can afford the extra mana here. Okay, Scour. Remove Street Wraith. Consider Pact Negation. With the other Scour. At this point, we're just milling until we hit the Grapeshot. Alright, Storm is 12, and there's the Grapeshot. Twiddle. Yes. Now we'll cast double Grapeshot. This will do. You want to use red mana here, so it doesn't really matter, because if you think about how this game would have played out against a competent opponent, if they had something, they would have used it by now. But at least if for some reason they decided if they were trying to be funny here, I could spell Pierce a random card. Instead, we get game number 1. We're going to switch this over to card view. We can bring in Needle because it does hit Besiju as a card that's effective against us. We're also interested in Pact and Negation to stop Force of Vigor, but also Endurance. Echoing Truth is also pretty interesting. We could take out this Void Snare since Void Snare isn't great at stopping Primeval Titan. You could bring in Suspend for that reason, but I think you want a more versatile card like Echoing Truth since it could answer Relic or whatever. So we're currently at 64. I think especially on the draw, Spell Pierce can be a little bit underwhelming here, so I'm going to board all of those out. Now we're at 61 cards. We have to find one slot to cut. I think it's going to be a Consider. You could board in an Ave to try to dodge their graveyard hate. That said, my fear is that you put all of your resources into putting a slime on the battlefield, and then they just make a huge Primeval Titan that takes over the game anyway. So I'm not really interested in doing that. Leyline is fine. It does stop Endurance, but they're also a Force of Vigor deck, and I don't think that we want to bring that in for that reason. Game number 2. Wow. This hand is a Tome Scour away. Keep. There's a Saga. And that's an Amulet. Yep. That's why I boarded out Spell Pierce. Consider's a good draw. Forest, and they're passing. So they get another Amulet on their turn, which is just terrifying for me. We'll grab Basic Island. Cast the Consider. We're going to mill that. We're looking for that Tome Scour here. Drew another island. Oh my, we have it. I'm going to put myself to 17. Running hot right now, hotter than the sun. So now the saga will happen. They do find another amulet. And now they get the Mystic Sanctuary. Well, they played Mystic Sanctuary. I shouldn't say that they get. So that triggers multiple times due to multiple amulets. And surprise, surprise, the Primeval Titan. Alright, so they grab 2 lands that enter tapped and then untap due to the Amulet of Vigor. They must have another Titan in hand, or else they wouldn't have grabbed these. Okay. So they can give them both haste. I might actually not have it due to the double Titan. So now the Boros Garrison goes back to their hand. I can tap one of these. The question is, do I want to tap both? So if I tap both, I have to draw another Twiddle in order to win. So I think I'm supposed to let them attack. They can get the Boros Garrison. I don't think I'm dead. If I tap this Titan, I have to draw another Twiddle, and I bind one off the Consider, so there's only 5 Twiddles in the deck. I have to hope that the double strike land doesn't kill me. It would put me to 1. They could also get Boseiju plus Karoo land, and then have Boseiju open. They grab Bojuka Bog, Boseiju. Okay. Do you have another Boseiju in hand? They must, right? That's the only thing that makes sense here. Red, blue. They have to have another Boseiju in hand. I can't think of any other reason they would do this. Lotus Field. Untap. Tap for blue. Breach. Untap. So the Bobble was a pretty good draw for that reason. Let's see if they have the Boseiju. Tap for blue. Tome Scour. Okay, we hit the Grapeshot. Oh no! I just misclicked. I was supposed to Scour there. Oh no! Ah! I can't believe I just did that. Yeah, I just lost. I was supposed to Scour there. I have to concede. Alright, so we still have a game 3. Not the end of the world. I need to focus, because this happens sometimes when I play online, where I'm recording, I'm narrating my plays, and because I'm narrating, I'm not thinking fully on what I'm doing while I'm narrating. And it happens to me, like, honestly, like once a week. So I need to get better about that, but we're just going to focus on this 3rd game, not sweat it, and try to get game number 3. Okay. So we have Needle. The thing we're missing here is Underworld, or I'm sorry, Lotus Field. I'm going to keep. Okay, so let's start off by playing Bobble. Target ourselves, Wishclaw Talisman. So that does get me Lotus Field. Cycle the Wraith. Play Tarn, fetch. Needle. Boseiju. Who endures. Pass. Draw off the Bobble. Another Twiddle. That's really good. So what we're lacking here is the Lotus Field and Tome Scour. Another Twiddle. Wishclaw Talisman. Pass the turn. Urza's Saga. And now they have Bojuka Bog open. So if we want to win, I need to tap this Reclaimer on their end step. The issue is that I can't win right now off a... like, I don't have Scour. I need Scour or Lotus, and I can't do both at the moment. They're going to use Reclaimer. Yep. They grab a Simic Growth Chamber. They pick up the Saga. Okay. Another Elvish Reclaimer. And I think I'm supposed to just pass until I draw something that allows me to win. So I have enough here to activate Wishclaw, Twiddle, activate Wishclaw, Twiddle. But then I'm giving them Wishclaw, and they get to use it and give it back. So I don't think that's actually worth it. I'm going to just pass the turn. Now they use the Reclaimer. They grab another Saga. So we know that there's a Saga in their hand already. And they play it. Sure. Okay. Draw. Another Breach. Doesn't really help me a whole bunch. We're just going to pass. They make a Construct. And now they're going to sacrifice the Saga with the trigger on the stack. They grab another Saga. And they could get Needle, Relic, Amulet. There's a lot of options here. They grab an Amulet of Vigor. Okay, they play the Vestige. 2 mana. Another Amulet. Grazer. Yeah, that untaps. They have 2 in hand. They're getting in for 3. I think it's probably now or never. Let's tap the Simic Growth Chamber. They're going to use Elvish Reclaimer. And they grab Bazooka Bog. That's fine by me. No. And then, I mean, we have to go. So if I lose this, it's fine because, like, I don't really have another decision. I mean, I misplayed in game 2 and I believe I had that game wrapped up. Draw. We drew the Lotus Field. Okay, that was actually very good for us. So we'll play this. Play the field. Or I'm sorry, play the Breach. Untap the Lotus Field. Yes. Untap Lotus Field. And then we will tap this for mana. I'm going to hold control. Okay. And now I'm going to untap the Wishclaw. Come on, let me untap the Wishclaw. Come on. There we go. Yes. Activate it. So on the first one, I will grab a Tome Scour. And I believe the card that we have to beat right now, in this very moment, is Endurance. So I'm going to grab Pact and Negation. And now I will target myself with Tome Scour. Okay. Scour myself again. Alright, and now we will Twiddle the Lotus Field. Trying to not mess this up again. Consider Wishclaw Breach. Show them the Pact. And that should do it. My misplay did not come back to bite me in the buns. Alright, yes, I would like to use Twiddle's ability. We'll tap for blue. Scour targeting us. Breach, Pact. Otherworldly Gaze. Storm is 10. Scour us. And I'm going to switch to using Dream's Grip at this point, so that way I don't have to click yes or no on the Twiddle and potentially mess myself up here. And our opponent concedes the game. Boom! 1-0. You love to see it. All right, stick around. There's 4 more matches. I'm sure they're going to be just as exciting, and hopefully I won't make one giant play mistake in each of those. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. What a league! We go from a very popular modern streamer into the trophy champion Minione, who always plays Living End, a nightmare matchup for me. Here we have a pretty good hand. I am definitely interested in keeping this. One card that actually makes this matchup a lot better for us is Spell Pierce. We can interact with their crucial spell on the stack now. Alright, so I'm going to play Bobble, pass the turn. I'm not even sure when I want to use this Bobble, because I feel like we might want to hide the card we want off it from Grief Longer is a possibility. Ouch. Otherworldly Gaze. So I could play Wishclaw here. I actually kind of like that. Let's mill the Gaze, and I want the Twiddle too, so we're going to put these both on top. Bobble you here. They have a Living End that they're drawing. Draw off Bobble. Okay. We're going to fetch for Watery Grave and just play the Wishclaw. So they fetched away the Living End. They cycle a Striped Riverwinder. And they force that, pitching Colossal Sky Turtle. That's a fine interaction. Land number 2. No Grief. Draw. Back to Negation. So I could, in theory, try to go here. It's pretty risky because we only have these Otherworldly Gazes to go off of. I think what I'm supposed to do is flash this back and just play the Lotus Field. Ooh, too bad I don't have access to this Spell Pierce. I don't feel like I'm going to need Spell Pierce if I'm able to untap. So I think I'm actually supposed to just burn all of these. Pass the turn. They cycle again. Island. The Agent. Okay, so they don't have a Grief this time, which is good news for me. And now we have Force backup with a win. Well, likely win. Did I say Force? Yeah, Force. Pact and Negation. I can't talk. Please forgive me. Untap. So we have Otherworldly Gaze here, and that's what we're trying to win with. Come on, force this so I can Pact. They did have double Force, but I have Pact and Negation. So step 1, let's make a little bit more mana. We're going to untap the Lotus Field. Remove some lands. And honestly, I'm going to remove the Pact, which might seem like a dumb move. But I have another Pact in my hand, and the idea here is that maybe my opponent tries to interact with me again, and then I can use this Pact to add another card to the graveyard. So we're going to escape this Otherworldly Gaze, pitching some cards here. And there's the Scour. Running hot. That is a game win. So at this point, we just have to go through the motions. All right. There's the Grapeshot. Storm's 8. They're at 15. Let's find a Twiddle. Untap our Lotus Field. Storm's 9. I actually have enough to double Grapeshot here, so let's add red. And double Grapeshot them. And if you wanted to, you could even play this Lotus Field from hand to sacrifice both of your Lotus Fields and then Grapeshot. Okay. Target you. We have stolen game number 1 from the trophy leader. What up? Alright. So, like I mentioned, this is a Grief Endurance matchup. So that makes Leyline of Sanctity very interesting to me. We could board in more packs as well. I do not like Ave in the matchup, so definitely not interested in that. They do have Otawara and Beseiju in their deck, so we could bring in Needle. I just don't know if that's something we want to do. Let's try to figure out how we're going to board first. I think you're actually supposed to take out either Consider or Street Wraith, and I actually like Street Wraith in this matchup for 2 reasons. One, you don't have to pay mana to cycle, and I think that's pretty huge. You don't get the card quality aspect of it, but I think this is a matchup where you just have to be fast. And then the second thing is, you get blockers for when they living end, and I think that's actually pretty critical, or crucial, whatever. They do sometimes board in ley lines, so I think we want to leave Void Snare. The question is, do we board in Needle, and if so, what goes out? I'm going to just resubmit. Okay. Good hand. Keep. We have the Void Snare, so I'm not worried about that. Steam Vents. They cycle a Riverwinder. They're griefing me. Sure. They take Twiddle. They have 3 in hand. Draw. Right on time, Leyline. Right on time. Land number 2. They're passing. Let's fetch. I think I'm supposed to cycle my Street Wraiths here in case I draw into an Otherworldly Gaze. Cycle. Cycle. Nope, just lands. Draw for turn. We hit the Void Snare. Okay. If this gets forced, I actually lose the game. I'm gonna just try it. I don't know if they'd actually do it. And that F6, they did not have counter spells. Okay. This seems like they have a turn 3 living end. Unfortunately, I did not find the Spell Pierce here. I don't think I want to show them the ley line. I'm going to concede. Resubmit. Game 3, we're on the play. Ugh. I don't think I'm allowed to keep this. It's just like not a viable hand. Mulligan. Why you gotta do me like that, deck? Go to 5. Have to get rid of Street Wraith in the island. Opponent kept 7. I am so dead here. Yeah. Watery Grave, we go to 17. Otherworldly Gaze. Definitely milling these. Untap, draw. Yay, yay, yay. Wishclaw. Pass. They cycle on Architects. Okay, they just passed. In my upkeep, I'm going to flashback this Otherworldly Gaze looking for Lotus Field. We did not find it. I think I have to keep this Underworld Breach. Pass the turn. They discard Waker of Waves. Cycle Street Wraith. And again, they're at 14. They find the 3rd land. I have to imagine that this is now a living end coming to meet me. Here it is. 6 cards in hand. So in those 6 cards, there's reasonably a Force or an Endurance. And they get to look at my top cards with the Architects. Jeez. There is one way we could theoretically get around that, and that's in my upkeep, activate Wishclaw for Lotus Field, hope that they don't have anything, and then I have to draw another Twiddle in order to win. These these Leyline of Sanctities are not good. Alright, we're going to activate the Wishclaw. We're all in on drawing another Twiddle here. Draw. Grapeshot, the card that's not good enough. Play Lotus Field and pass. That's all we can really do. I'm at 17. So I blocked the 7/7, 6, 12, 14. So I'm not technically dead yet. I mean, if they have a Colossal Sky Turtle, they do. They can activate Wishclaw for a Colossal Sky Turtle, and then I'm dead. Oh, I'm just dead to Violent Outburst. Cute. Yeah, you got me. I didn't draw Spell Pierce or my sideboard cards. Bummer. We got away with murder in game number 1 and then got murdered in both post-board games. It's a shame. Okay. So they did have Leyline of the Void. Interesting. Match number 3 coming up. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and mana tokens, as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. All right, we're going to bounce back here. I can feel it in my bones. Round number 3. We need to find land 2. That's all we need out of this hand. I will keep Island past the turn. Misty Rainforest. Cast the Otherworldly Gaze. Land. And we find it along with the Tome Scour. It's huge. Okay. So this Wishclaw Talisman wants to get Underworld Breach. We have the Tome Scour. So they are a blue deck. So they could have like a Spell Pierce or something here, but we just have to play the Wishclaw. In a lot of situations, our opponent's just on like one of the domain piles that are currently in the format, domain being 5 color. So they really want to tap for or fetch for a Triome here, a 3-color tap land. And they are not on one of those decks by the looks of it. Misty Rainforest. Are you going to tap out for a Wrenn and 6? You are not. Okay. In my upkeep, I'm going to flashback this Otherworldly Gaze. We already have the Scour, so we don't need this anymore. Let's get rid of these. I don't need those. Draw. Oh, baby. Alright, we have it with backup next turn. Double backup, even. Because I could Twiddle Wishclaw to get packed into Underworld Breach Tome Scour. Tapping 2 mana. Uh-oh. Oh, it's just Rhinos. Okay. Whew. Sure. You've got it. I'm at 9. They have 6 cards in hand. Tap for blue. Twiddle. Yes. Twiddle again. Yes. Underworld Breach. And that just resolves. Okay. Blue. Let's Tome Scour ourselves. Tome Scour again. Twiddle the Lotus Field. So one of the few cards I think we could actually lose to are Flusterstorm. So I'm just trying to do my best to not lose to that card at this point. Scour. Scour again. Twiddle. Consider. Flooded Strand. And then this island. Storm is 9. And you might think that I'm being a little bit silly playing around a card like Flusterstorm here, but there's no reason not to. Like, if I can, I might as well because it's free for me at this point. Let's increase that storm count a little bit. Play this Consider. Straight into the graveyard. And the opponent just conceded. Okay, sweet. So some weird Rhino deck. I think I'm going to want to bring in Ave in this matchup. Beat some of those endurance draws, and they looked like they were Blue-Red X, so it could be Blood Moon. For that reason, I will board in Echoing Truth. And in a lot of these matchups, because I'm bringing in Ave, I'm actually boarding out Street Wraith. You want to keep in consider for the potential storm count. We're at an even 60 right now. That said, I am interested in Pact Negation, so what I've been doing is just, it's not a great thing to admit, but skimming a little. So finding cards that we can maybe board out on. I think Consider is one of those cards, even though we're boarding out Street Wraith. And then like maybe a Twiddle effect. Although I've never loved boarding out. You know, I'm only going to do, I don't want to board out Twiddle. I'll do 2 Ave. Yeah, this seems fine. And when I played Friday night, I boarded in 2 Ave a lot versus the blue decks, and I boarded in 3 Ave versus non-blue a lot. So the third Ave is really for those blue matchups. Here we have 4 lands, which isn't ideal, but we do have Protection, Breach, and a Twiddle, so we need Lotus Field plus Tome Scour. I think I'm actually going to mulligan this. And this is already a better hand. Keep. Get rid of the Grapeshot. Scalding Tarn. And they're just passing. Beautiful. Give me that Underworld Breach. That's all we need. I love playing this deck. Like, I know that I got smushed in that last video, and at the beginning of that video, I was like, oh, I'm so happy to be playing my favorite Modern deck again. It actually makes me super happy to play this deck, and something that I gained a lot of courage from was I uploaded, I mean, it's not great to admit this, but back-to-back leagues in Pauper where I went 0-4-0-4, but it was a learning experience. And in the comments, a lot of people said they like watching the deck development quickly rather than a month apart for analytical purposes. Even though when I upload a similar deck too often, people don't typically watch both videos. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but I wanted to work on this again, and I wanted to show people the progress that I made over the weekend, which is really the reason that I'm playing this today. So hopefully you enjoyed it. I'm sorry if you're someone that might have watched this even though you watched the other one and you would have preferred another combo video. I do appreciate you watching, but this is sort of just what I wanted to play, so that's what I'm doing. Spire Bluff Canal. We will look at our own top card. Pact of Negation. I have this Spell Pierce. Do I want the Pact? I think we can draw it. Come on, Breach. I mean, that's not a bad one. Alright, so they could have a counterspell for this Wish Claw. They also might just let it resolve, who knows. It's on the table. Ice, ice, baby. Land number 3. Shardless Agent. So, I have a confession to make. I'm going to try to murder my opponent here. Murder them straight dead. Lotus Field. Also, I feel like this Grapeshot is glued to my hand this league. I swear that I'm not shuffle cheating, I promise. This is in fact Magic Online. Untap the Lotus Field. Tap it for triple red. Activate the Wish Claw using a red mana. The key here is we need to keep a blue floating for this Dream Script. Grab the Breach. Cast Breach. Force pitching Mystical Dispute. I will Pact a Negation. Alright, and now we can untap. We're going to leave the Pact in there. Tap for blue, Tome Scour. We have the loop. And our opponent concedes just like that. We're up to 2-1. Already more wins than that previous video. Wish sucks. I've said it. Match number 4 coming up. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. Round 4, we're on the draw. I'm going to try this one. I don't love it. We're lacking Underworld Breach and Lotus Field. It looks like we're facing Living End again. But I do have the Spell Pierce. Play the Island, pass. And it is in fact Living End again. Makes me sad. Okay. Let's Otherworldly Gaze. We found Breach, so now we just need Lotus Field. Put the Breach on top. Ouch. 18, pass the turn. They discard Waker of Waves. If we drew Lotus Field for turn, or found Lotus Field for turn, we could go off with protection. So it's really just finding Lotus Field at this point. Between the Otherworldly Gaze flashback, assuming that I'm allowed to flash it back this turn, it looks like I am, we would have seen 25% of our deck, which is a decent portion. Here's Grief. I cannot Spell Pierce this, so that happens. So now they have to choose between my Underworld Breach or Spell Pierce. They choose the Breach. Okay. Let's flash back the Otherworldly Gaze. Another Spell Pierce. I'm going to keep both of these. Okay, play the land, pass the turn. They cycle a Riverwinder. And they're passing. Consider. Keep that. So if I flash back the Otherworldly Gaze here, they could play Violent Outburst at instant speed and get me. So instead, I'm going to just I should have gotten Watery Grave there. Whoops. Draw. A. Going to pass the turn. We have to find Underworld Breach now. I mean, Lotus Field was a tremendous draw. They cycle the Curator of Mysteries. They're going up to 5 in hand. So land into Shardless Agent would be a single Spell Pierce here. Fetch. Go to 15. Flashback. No Underworld Breach here. Draw. Does that do it? It might. They have 4 in hand? I mean, it's pretty free to play out the Lotus Field, so let's do that. So this becomes 6 mana here, because each one of these is 3, 5, plus 1 and floating is 6, 7 mana. So Wishclaw into Breach is 5, so I'd have 2 floating. Okay, play Wishclaw. Looks like they are hardcasting Force. I'm going to respond. I'm going to Twiddle. So actually, maybe I should think through this right now. Okay, so main deck Endurance is not popular right now. That said, if they have another Force, they could really bite me in the butt. I'm going to try to Twiddle here, see what they do. Okay, so if I were to double Spell Pierce this, it doesn't do it. I'm 1 mana short of being able to double Spell Pierce. Alright, I'm going to Pact. If they have a second Force, it's going to stink, but I think that this is the right move. Wishclaw. And they did have it. So this really stinks, but there's a line I need to take here. Okay. Wishclaw happens. So we're going to get Underworld Breach and then have to bobble a whole bunch. Which realistically means I'm dead. Because I gave them a Wish Claw. And I don't have any mana. My opponent is questioning my plays in chat like I don't know what I'm doing. Thank you. Alright. So they have a land on top. Play another bobble. Okay. Play a bobble again. I mean, it's certainly not a good spot. I'm not going to pretend that it is. Play the bobble again. I have to leave the Grapeshot. So we're drawing 4 cards in their upkeep. They get to go search up a living end, and I have to draw a Twiddle to pay for pack just to stay alive. So I should not win this game, but the opponent needs to make the baseline correct play, which is just put living end on the stack. Well, we drew a Twiddle, which was step 1. I will say this, with Spell Pierce, the matchup has never felt this close. Like, it used to just me getting bulldozed. So far this league, granted, I'm about to lose this game, the matchup has felt realistic. Like, I'm not going to say I'm favored or even 50-50, but it feels like there's a potential to win a match where I don't know if I've ever felt that way before. Now they have Shardless Agent, they get back their whole graveyard, they get to grief me. We are dead. I'm just going to pick it up. No need to do the thing where, like, in theory, I could Wishclaw for Twiddle, pay for Pact, and then let them attack me for lethal. I value my time. So let's just go ahead in the next one. Bringing in ley lines again. Taking out Considers. Do I want to bring in more packs? It's just so tough. Every card in here is just so vital. I think 2-pack is probably fine. Like, they're not going to have double force every game. Game 2, we're on the play. Hell yeah. Alright, so we do need to find land number 2 and an Underworld Breach. Maybe what I should have done that game is just like double Spell Pierce the force. Make them force again. No, that's just as bad. They have Leyline of the Void. Okay. Well, we do have this nice Void Snare. Get rid of that. Pass the turn. Scalding Tarn. Untap, draw. Bobble. Target ourselves. Another Wraith. Cycle. Cycle. If I didn't hit a land, I could have Tome Scoured myself and then cycled. Unfortunately here I'm just passing, and then I'm going to play this Otherworldly Gaze on their end step. Could do it now. They can't Mystical Dispute me now, so let's do it. The other land was Lotus Field, so we're going to mill all of these. Okay. I draw another Otherworldly Gaze, not the worst card. Plays a Grief that doesn't do anything because we have a ley line. Upkeep, let's Otherworldly Gaze. They use Waker of Waves. I have a feeling that this Spell Pierce is going to be too slow if I keep it. I guess there's no harm in putting it on top, really. Maybe that's not true, because then I can't play the Lotus Field on the next turn, so maybe it's just wrong. And they're passing. Okay, I'm definitely going to draw the Spell Pierce. Pass the turn. They use a Misty Rainforest. Another Waker of Waves. Mills a Grief. They play another Grief. Okay. Fetch. Let's flash back. I knew this was the risk when I flashed it back. They have 2 in hand. I have to find the Underworld Breach now. They get to look at my top cards, but that doesn't really matter. They look at theirs, okay. So this is roughly 33%. I have 41 cards in deck. So I get to 33% of our deck on. We're looking for 1 of 4 copies of Underworld Breach here. Not good enough. Come on, deck, please. Draw step. We hit. Okay. Step 1. Lotus Field. Dream's Grip. Underworld Breach. Oh my, are we doing this? I guess so. We're doing it. Tome Scour. We've already milled the Grapeshot. Okay, Storm is 5. They're at 14. Scour myself. Storm 6. Twiddle. And then I can double Grapeshot. Yes. Tap for red. Grapeshot you. Going to game 3. Sweet. All right. That felt lovely. That's interesting. I'm looking at lists again, and it appears that most people aren't playing Endurance right now. So if that's the case, should I even be boarding in the ley lines? There it did stop triple grief. But is that the correct move? So let me drag this over. Looking at, like, this is like a pretty good list from a decent player. This is Mignone. This is the person we just faced. You'll notice 2 Force of Vigor, 3 Dispute, 6 ley lines, and then 4 Force. So it would appear that ley line only stops the 4 grief. Which makes me think that maybe I should have reevaluated this matchup a little bit. Board out the ley lines. Let's bring in the packs. And then I think we want the Echoing Truth for the ley lines. And now we're at 59. And I think we're supposed to just bring back in the Consider. Or you could do like 1 ley line for like, gotcha, for the griefs. I think that this is the move. Game number 3. I'm not going to mulligan this hand. Scalding Tarn. Another Otherworldly Gaze will just pass. Steam Vents. They cycle Street Wraith. Botanical Sanctum. Alright, I'm going to cast Otherworldly Gaze. We do not find land 2. We will mill everything. I'm going to take a blind draw, I think. Did not hit. Otherworldly Gaze. They use a Waker of Waves. Wow. Yikes. That's not good for me. Cycle the Street Wraith. Shields down. If they want to Living End here, they have it. Land 3. And they pass. Draw. So many Twiddles. All aboard the Twiddle train. They are passing with 7 in hand. Draw. We have to go to cleanup. Twiddle down. They have 8. And now they're going to clean up. Skirt's Foundation Breaker. And Underworld Breach is a good one. I just need land 2. Which is kind of wild because my next draw is 33% of our deck. So you might be thinking, Bryant, why not in their upkeep tap one of their lands? That is a play you can make. The problem with that is if they just draw a land, they can then untap and, you know, put a bunch of creatures into play. We don't want that to happen. Draw. There we go. Okay, pass the turn. Good draw for the home team there. They find land number 4. Here's the Shardless agent. So this means that they could have Mystical Dispute back up. And if that's the case, I'm probably dead. Yep, it's Mystical Dispute. Ah, damn. I could have tapped a land in their upkeep. So now they get to grief me. So now I need to draw another copy of Underworld Breach, or what is it called? A Wish Claw. We've already milled 2 Wish Claws. There goes my Breach. And they get to look at my top 3 with this Architects. Okay. I mean, there's no point here to an upkeep Otherworldly Gaze. I guess I can't. So like what if the top 3 was pure bangers? Then I could theoretically win here. But if I gaze, there's 0% chance I can win this turn. So I might as well take the draw step. Another pact. I mean, it's not terrible. I'm at 18. Assuming that I can block the Waker, I would take 6, 8, 10, 13. Flash this back. Okay. Play the Lotus Field. Pass the turn. They have 3 in hand. There is a line here to win. It's going to be tough. We're going to block the Waker. And I'm at 5. Okay, so the first step is we're going to Twiddle and untap our Lotus Field. Yes. Okay, now we flash back the Otherworldly Gaze with the 2 remaining mana. We have to find Underworld Breach this turn. None of these get the job done. Okay, we have 3 Underworld Breaches we're drawing towards. We have 3, 5, 7. So between Underworld Breach and Wishclaw, we have 5 hits here. Theoretically, consider as a redraw, but I believe we boarded all of those out. Yeah, we have no considers in our deck, so we have 5 hits. Here goes nothing. Draw step. Scalding Tarn is not the card we needed. Alright, so we fall just short once again to Living End. Honestly, I know that 2-2 isn't an amazing record. I'm not going to lie to you, but I feel very confident right now. The matchup has never been this close. Both matches were nail-biters, in my opinion, where we fell just short. So, you know, I'll take it. Not the end of the world. Let's go win match number 5. With Card Hoarder, renting your favorite combo deck has never been easier. There isn't a more affordable solution for Magic Online. Want to play the deck in this video? Check out the pinned comment below to easily rent the deck from Card Hoarder. Did you know you can rent the Epic Storm from Card Hoarder for as little as 7 tickets a week? We've made it simple to do so by including a button to rent the entire deck at theepicstorm.com/decklist. Alright, round 5, no clue what our opponent's playing, but our hand is terrific. I'm going to keep this. We are a Tome Scour away. Inkmoth Nexus. I imagine that this is Hammer Time. Ornithopter sort of confirms that. Springleaf Drum. Explosive Hand. Esper Sentinel. Okay. We have a turn 3, like I mentioned. We just have to find that Tome Scour. Speaking of the devil, here it goes. We have a turn 3 Protected. So I say Protected. We're facing Hammer Time, a deck that traditionally doesn't have a whole lot of interaction. That said, over the last year or so, it's been a pretty big trend in Modern for our opponent to have Spell Pierce, which is why you're seeing a Hallowed Fountain here. Another copy of Esper Sentinel. Another Drum. They have 1 card. They animate the Inkmoth. That's fine. We'll take 1 damage and 1 poison. And then on their end step, let's fetch with this Flooded Strand. Grab Steam Vents. Untap. Draw. We also have interaction with these Twiddles. So if for some reason our opponent just went like, whatever it's called, Paladin Hammer, we could tap the Ink Moth. Sigarda's Aid. Okay. They have one in hand. If it's a hammer, we could theoretically be dead. They animate. Okay. So beginning of combat. I have enough resources here where I can tap this Inkmoth Nexus and when it's still on my turn. If they have a Spell Pierce, they can't kill me, so I might as well pay for this one. I guess if they have a second hammer, I'm dead. I don't care about a hammer on this. One hammer will not kill me. Sure. And them attacking with Ornithopter tells me that they don't have a Spell Pierce for this drum. So we had a turn 3 with, I'm going to use air quotes here, creature removal and counterspell backup. Okay, we're going to tap the Steam Vents for a red, play the Lotus Field. Dream's Grip to untap the Lotus Field. And the opponent... I do not want to pay no. The opponent not leaving the Ornithopter back for a hypothetical Spell Pierce looks kind of bad here. That said, we would have had it anyway. Scour myself. But now we can Dream's Grip and we just have the loop. Love to see it. Okay. And now we Twiddle. Storm is 7. Just keep twiddling. Remove a trio of Consider here, Storm number 8. I don't like how it's popping like that. It bothers me a little bit. Let's just move that over there. That's better. Dream's Grip again. Street Wraith, Underworld Breach, Underworld Breach. Storm is now 10. Storm 11. Storm 12. And there's the Grapeshot. Storm 13. At this point, I think it's actually easier to just ramp up to 17 than it is to double Grapeshot, so I'm just going to do that. Untap this Lotus Field. From 15. Okay. This is from 16. And then Grapeshot can be from 17. Game number 1 goes to Lotus Breach. This deck has felt a lot faster tonight without the wishes in it. I'll say that. Alright, so now we get to bring in Suspend. We can bring in Needle as well because they're an Urza Saga deck, so they can go get Relic or things like that. Spell Pierce is pretty effective against Hammer, so I don't really want to board that out. But we have 65 cards in our deck right now, which is a lot. I think you could probably take out Considers, which might seem a little bit odd. But one of the things about it is it's a card that requires you to spend mana, and we're trying to spend that mana on other things. So that's why I'm going to leave in Street Wraith over the Considers here. And I still want to leave in Spell Pierce to counter hammers or opposing copies of Spell Pierce, that sort of thing. Click Submit. Basically, you can remember it this way. Street Wraith stays in when you need to be fast. If it's okay to be slow, keep in the Considers, board out the Street Wraiths, get a little bit of equity that way. Unfortunate we didn't have more Ave matchups tonight because in my league Friday night, I think I boarded in Ave like 4 or 5 rounds. I faced a lot of those domain leyline binding decks and I was constantly boarding them in. Tonight we just happened to have like double Living End into a bunch of aggressive decks. We can't keep this mulligan. Am I bold enough to keep this? I mean, I don't know. We're on the draw with a bunch of redraws. Alright, you can judge me in the comments. I don't know how often I'm winning on a mulligan to 5 anyway, so let's just try this. Coast into Sentinel. Perfect. Let's give them more cards. Draw. No. Bobble. Cycle. Hey! Bobble. Do I get rid of that? I think I want that. The problem here is that I want to cast Otherworldly Gaze, but if I do that on their turn, they get an advantage. So I think instead I'm going to choose to not be reactive, and I'm just going to Otherworldly Gaze now. Mill the Street Wraith. Get rid of the Wishclaw. I do want this Misty, though. We'll put that on top. And let's look at their top card. Oh, it's a hammer. Lovely. Pass. Misty into Pact. The problem here is that if they have a Sigarda's Aid, I'm in trouble. There's a Saga, and there's the Aid. Yeah, I would have to draw Suspend like right now. And I'm punished for getting rid of that Spell Pierce. Draw. I don't think I can realistically come back. So I can Dream Script their creature in their upkeep to buy time, but it's not advancing my own game plan at all. Okay. Grab the vents. Pass the turn. In your upkeep, tap your Esper Sentinel. They have 5 in hand and I'm at 3 life. And they can go get a relic with this Saga. I'm actually just dead to the construct it makes too. Sanctifier and Vec. And another hammer. Yep. So that first hammer I saw didn't matter. They got me. Game 3. Let's just resubmit. Yes, I would like to play first. No, I cannot keep that. Hand's a weird one. I think I'm pressured into keeping it, but it's honestly not that great. Bottom the Void Snare. Delta, we're going to immediately cycle the Street Wraith in case I draw into a Bobble or something else I need to play at sorcery speed. Needle. Going to just pass here. You might be thinking, why not Tome Scour? There's a number of reasons. Like, if they just lead off on a Relic, I don't want to get my Scour exiled or potentially even Grapeshot. Inkmoth Nexus. Thopter. Drum again. Classic opener. Another Thopter, 4 cards in hand. That's a hammer. That's pretty scary. Fetch. Grab the Watery Grave. So there is the white instant, and I believe it attaches to a creature. So I'm going to Needle Inkmoth here. We drew the land. That was good. Inkmoth Nexus. Not Blinkmoth, Inkmoth. That could have been very bad. Pass the turn. Thopter number 3, they have plenty of blockers. Marsh Flats. 2 in hand. So if this is a Paladin, they could equip the hammer to... And it looks like a Paladin. Yep. That means that they can move the hammer next turn. They have one in hand. I think I'm supposed to just remove this Ornithopter now. Okay. So they can re-equip and deal me 10 next turn. So I have Wishclaw for Lotus Field on the following turn. I need to draw like Lotus Breach or Lotus Field and or Breach plus Twiddle. Like, it is not looking good for me right now. Like, my best draw here would be Lotus Field. That would actually... If I draw Field here, I won't need and Twiddle. If I draw Field exactly with this draw step. Another Suspend. I think we just play the Wishclaw and pass. So Ornithopter has Suspend. They have one in hand. Ooh, that's the ball game. Okay. That's a tough one. Yeah, I mean, sometimes they get you. That's a bummer. So we went 2-3. I'm not going to look at this like a negative league. You could certainly look at it that way, and I would completely understand. 2-3 is not a positive result. Like, I'm not trying to trick you. That said, if you look at the matchups, we faced an all-star caliber player on Amulet Titan, and we won that. We faced the trophy leader, Minione, on Living End, and almost won that. We won the following match. I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. Another close match against Living End. And here, I mean, both post-board games, I don't want to say I was close, but like we were within striking distance. And here it required a decent draw from our opponent. So had we had another draw step, would have been another Wishclaw. I don't know how that actually would have gone, but not the end of the world. I'm going to not be too upset over this, only because Living End is a nightmare matchup, and I made it look close. So if I had faced the 5-color decks that I faced Friday night, maybe our end result would have been different. I'm not going to say I guarantee would have beaten those decks, but Friday night I felt very favored against the Leyline Binding decks. Sorry I didn't face them today. I don't really control the pairings queues on Magic Online, but it is what it is. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate it, and as always, keep storming. Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.